want to turn to Afghanistan's returning home. Australia and the United States has, of course, announced the withdrawal of troops in Afghanistan by September, ending America's longest war. Aaron, there are some concerns from foreign policy experts that this move could bolster the Taliban and also China, because China owns key assets in Afghanistan. Do you think these are legitimate concerns?
They are. The Western withdrawal from Afghanistan, in effect, the Western acceptance of defeat or admittance of defeat in Afghanistan, definitely possibly paves the way to the country falling back under the control of the Taliban. Probably not immediately. I think after the Soviets pulled their troops out, it took Najibullah 3 years to fall. Eventually, the Taliban and Mujahideen hung him up from a lamppost. And it's very possible that the current pro-Western Kabul government could fall in a number of years. And so I think this forgotten war would have to go down as one of the greatest modern failures in Australian foreign policy. Because of the small number of Australians who died there, I think it was 41, it hasn't played a big role in our consciousness. But it should. We should think about it more, because this was a great failure that we were a part of. And the West tried so hard to turn Afghanistan into a functioning society, almost a functioning democracy, and we clearly failed. The money we put in led to huge corruption, and we've now walking away, and we're leaving the Afghanis there to fight themselves against an opponent which hasn't given up after 20 years and is not going to give up now.
Nick Cater?
Look, I think to say it's a failure is rather an overstatement. You've got to remember the reason we went in there in the first place was to crush that dreadful terrorist group that were responsible for 9/11 and other things. Now, we did that, so that at least was an achievement. I think there was never going to be a good time to leave. And Aaron is right, it's very hard to bring a Western-style democracy to that country, and to think you could do so denies the lessons of history. So we're always going to leave it in an imperfect condition, and we're always going to leave it really at the Americans' timing.
Look, Nick, you've given us some exclusive research that you've commissioned. You've done some polling that looks at, whether people want the state borders to open up. 62% said the states could commit to leaving their borders open now that the vaccinations are being rolled out. Another question you looked at in this poll is the record number of jobs available. The question was, do you think people have lost their work habit during COVID-19, getting too used to JobKeeper or just working from home? 75% of people said yes. Nick, it seems that state premiers are going to continue to lock down their borders every time there's an outbreak. But according to this polling, it's not what people want.
No, but I was surprised that more people didn't want the borders to stay open. You've still got 40% who want the option of closing the borders, which I think shows the nervousness. It shows the extent to which people have been scared witless by the premiers. But, it's very important that borders are open and that we don't have this stop-start business, which we know has just been, terrible for the economy and for small business. And on the other question on have people lost the work habit, we got job vacancies at a 12-year high, and yet we've still got high unemployment. And you hear from people that it's very hard to get people to do shifts in hotel and catering in particular. Have they lost work habit? I don't know, but 3/4 of the people that were asked in this poll thought yes.
Aaron, there's two things that you hear often from employers. One is that it's difficult to fill jobs, and the second is that it's difficult to get people back into the office now that COVID is over. People have become so used to working from home. Do you think flexible working is now a permanent fixture, that it's here to stay?
I hope not. Here in Sydney, it's a real problem. So in central Sydney, the traffic data shows that just a lot of people aren't coming to work on Mondays and Fridays. The city is sort of at about 50% capacity, the government estimates. And the Sydney CBD is a really important economic driver for New South Wales. I think it's about a quarter of the state economy. And so the problem is you've got a lot of services, businesses, which are really struggling. Bars and restaurants and retailers. And you've also got very expensive real estate, and you've got a lot of transport infrastructure set up to get people to those offices in the city. And so it's of deep
Okay.
concern to the New South Wales
Okay.
government that people aren't coming to work on those days.